a lot of people are failing, and I don't get it. You pay so much to acquire people. Why the hell aren't you going above and beyond to take care of them, to do whatever you need to do to convert them? I don't know. It's beyond me, but it's frustrating, and I feel you, because being in the industry that I'm in, and then when I have to deal with that shit, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, please let me help you. Sometimes I just want to help because it's so bad. I'm like, this is not good. This is not good.
Hello, and welcome to the Frictionless Experience podcast, the podcast where we lay waste to digital friction. I'm Chuck Moxley.
And I'm Nick Paladino.
In today's digital age, brands are not just about products, they're about building communities and customer loyalty. Our guest today is Breanna Moreno from True Classic, where she serves as VP of Customer Experience. Now, Breanna is here to share insights into how True Classic is creating authentic brand experiences that resonate with their customers. From everything from leveraging digital properties to building a thriving membership program, will open the hood on how they're exceeding customer expectations and creating long-term loyalty. Welcome, Breanna.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Those who are unfamiliar with True Classic, tell us a little bit about the company.
We are a men's apparel brand that exists to provide the perfect look, helping every man look good and feel good at an accessible price.
I think I've seen your kind of clever ads, like on Facebook and the like, they're kind of funny.
I'm heavily targeted. I'll say that. I am heavily targeted by True Classic.
You know, I enjoyed the ad so much that now I'm targeted by every t-shirt company. I get there's 10 of them that come at me. So tell us about your role at True Classic and what your team is focused on.
Yeah, so my role is VP of CX. I started with the company back in 2020, essentially kind of in the heart of the pandemic. I was employee number one. So again, been with the company since essentially fruition with the three founders, Nick, Matt, and Ryan. What started as kind of taking over, building, scaling the support efforts, moved into leveraging all of the social media moderation, and then now consumer insights. And essentially, I just have my influence and my hands kind of in every outlet of the business, especially as it relates to the experience that, we're providing to our consumers.
That's interesting. Did the company actually start in 2020 or did it launch before 2020?
The three founders launched it in 2019, quickly scaled, obviously much greater than I think anybody kind of expected. So they were definitely trying to solve a need of getting support and helping to build out the business as quickly as possible. So I joined in 2020.
Gotcha. Do they think that the COVID pandemic actually accelerated the brand, or did it have any influence, just out of curiosity?
Probably. Just the day and age we were at, where people were purchasing from home and on our phones so much more. It definitely was to the advantage. We luckily were smart enough to not have to, have any really big implications because of the supply chain, and we kind of pre-planned for all of that when that started happening. But I'm sure it definitely was a piece of the catapult.
Gotcha. So thinking about, how you reach your customers in today's direct-to-consumer DTC businesses, you've got so many digital touchpoints. You've got TikTok and Snapchat and Amazon and, your website and mobile phones and all that. To talk a little bit about the challenges in managing across those diverse digital touchpoints.
Yeah, it's definitely, each is a specific caveat to that particular consumer. So we're really big on wanting to be wherever our consumer is. So you definitely have specific demographics that you're, trying to hit at within like TikTok versus Facebook, for instance. But all in all, Meta is still always our top performer. But we've definitely dabbled in around everything. We've seen significant success across Amazon. We've recently scaled wholesale, which is really exciting because those of us that have been around forever just know the capacity that this could bring us to. So we're really excited to see where this takes us. We're in Kohl's doors now, recently Sam's Club. We're on Target.com. I mean, we're basically what feels like everywhere now. So for us, yes, it's a ton of strategic management and making sure that we have really great leaders in the space owning that market. But at the same time, it's exciting to see us everywhere. Again, based on that particular consumer and what their tendencies are, where they feel most comfortable. And I think it gives a reassurance factor too. We all get targeted by companies, but how often is it that you got targeted by an ad that you now see while you're shopping at Kohl's? It just, again, brings it full circle to say, oh, wait a minute, I remember seeing that ad. Oh, cool. This is a legit company. Now I get to see, feel, and touch the product. Hell, I'm in.
Yeah, and I think that's where you really elevate a brand. The presence is those, and goes back to a conversation we had with Michael Hinshaw. It's about the multiple touch points that a person has with an individual brand. It's not about that one time that they actually hit the website, because that's not going to flip somebody to say, hey, now all of a sudden I love True Classic.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks very cool.
Exactly.
But when I start seeing it I go get groceries at Sam's Club, and then I go Target.com, just like you're saying, you're using your examples, and I start seeing it pop up over and over. It's like, okay, well, Target trusts them. I should too. And there's a lot of big co-branded trust there that gets built. It's really interesting to see.
Well, I think that's also smart because you become a lot more accessible, because I've seen your ads for years. I don't wear t-shirts because, for all the reasons your ads say, they always look terrible on me, right? So I just don't ever wear t-shirts, but I've been curious, but not curious enough to break that barrier to go to your website. And typically, you're buying in packs of 3 or 6 or whatever. And then I'm like, well, if I get 6 and I don't like them, now I've wasted 6 shirts. But if I could actually try it, if I'm, on Target or I'm in a Kohl's and I see it and I go, oh, I can buy one. Let me try it. And if I like it, now I might go buy direct from you. I might start engaging direct with you. It just feels like almost like a giant trial program.
Yeah. And we do have polos, Chuck. So I'm going to have to send you one to show you what you're missing out on. But yes, for consumers like yourself, that may not be, of the mindset of like, oh, wow, this is the next big thing. I got to get in on this. Yes, that's exactly the perspective that we're thinking of, is earning that trust, showing that we're consistent, right? And hopefully acquiring customers that way.
I hope you have a black polo for him, though. It's very important.
That's all I wear on the.
That's good. That's good to know. Thank you so much, Nick. That's good to know. I'll definitely get that taken care of. But yes, staple colors. We're really big on staple colors, and listen, everybody is about them because they clearly perform the best. So I'm with you on the black. I definitely feel like that's always safe.
They go with everything. The other thing I think that's really interesting is, back in the day, somebody who is a direct-to-consumer brand, you or even Amazon would never think of partnering with a Kohl's. You would consider yourselves arch enemies. And I thought it was brilliant when they did the partnership with Amazon where you could return items at Kohl's. I got to be honest, I hadn't been in a Kohl's store for maybe 10 years. It's just not in anywhere in my shopping list. But when I could return my packages there, and there's a Kohl's right by my gym, I started going there to return packages, and then you get that 20% off. I've made like 5 or 6 purchases from Kohl's in the last 2 or 3 years that I could return packages. So I thought that was brilliant, of get out of your own head that you compete and instead see them as a channel. And it sounds like that's where you guys headed as well.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Spot on. And again, another way, a really interesting and innovative way for a D2C brand to get in front of a consumer to look, see, feel, and touch that product is, I think, super beneficial in many instances.
On those alternative platforms, and I'm not talking Amazon or even Target.com, but when you think TikTok and those, are you actually selling, or can you buy right on the platform? Does everything route back through your website?
Yeah, no, you can buy directly on that platform for sure.
And what have you seen from a sales channel for that? Is that kind of a nascent, a small drop in the bucket, or is that becoming pretty big? Are those becoming pretty big channels for you?
You know what was interesting is it seems like at takeoff, they do really well and we see it super lucrative, and then it kind of slows down. But I think again, it's, we got to consider like economic considerations, like who knows what the real reasoning is of why sales slow. It could be talent. It could be, the influencers that we're using. It could be a number of things, but we're always working collectively to try to solve for it. So it does decent. And then again, these are really strong levers from my perspective. These are really strong levers to have in place as you're approaching Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I tend to think of the mindset of what happens if, shit hits the fan and we lose our website. We have these backup channels as contingencies that I think is a really great partnership to tap into if and when you need to. So again, it's kind of like, putting your business all over the place, to one, meet your audience where they are, and then to leverage those in case something does go wrong and you lose maybe one of your biggest driving channels. At least you have those backups to work with.
That's smart. So I know that you have very passionate fans for your product, and that's allowed you to establish a community, based on that brand loyalty. Talk a little bit about I think it's called True Classic Insiders. Is that the name of the membership?
Yes. Our Insiders membership has really just taken off. This is something that we're super proud of. We've gotten, so creative with how we're telling our consumers about it and showing everybody about it. But the way that we show up within this community is, I think, probably what I'm most excited about and proud of. We have, probably 40,000 members right now. And we have a Facebook group that allows access to only these insiders. And we have built such a community within that Facebook group. That's been something that's so admirable. We're big on, if you're not familiar with this, we're big on giving back within our brand. And it's been the core and the heart and soul of the brand since the guys created it. But what this community has allowed us to do is find these surprise and delight moments. Somebody starting a new job, somebody's going through the loss of a loved one, having new babies, moving, all of this stuff we're able to share within this Facebook group and really connect members to each other. And it's just been such a breath of fresh air because it's all of these individuals, men and women, coming together and just kind of relating over True Classic and, what they love. And again, us as a brand are in there. They're giving feedback on the product. They're giving product suggestions. We do monthly all hand business meetings. We invite our members to come in and teach us about how did they learn about the brand? What could we do better? What do they love? All of the insights that are really helping us to build better product, better experience, better everything for them. And then on the flip side, just showing up for them. It doesn't have to be about come here and make a purchase, but just about being in that community together. So, if somebody's going through a hard time, we can give back in some way, whether that be they lost their pet and we sent them a, personalized, what are those things called? A sun catcher of their pet's face. Like just again, finding those moments. Somebody's having a new baby. We sent them like this awesome pillow to try to help with sleep because how it's so minimal when you have new babies at home. So again, just really finding opportunities to be there for each other. And I think right now in the world we're living in and how much division and everything, it's like I said, a breath of fresh air to just come together and be like, we're here and we're connecting. You got insiders in there saying, where are you from? Let's have a meetup. I want to share a beer with you. And these members are just establishing relationships all over a product. So it's just something amazing to be part of. And like I said, really, really proud of.
That's a super interesting touch point. I mean, when you really think about it, what other brand is doing that like at all? Other than social
I don't know
platforms
any.
themselves.
There's probably some mom brands that may do it. I'm not part of any, unfortunately, but yeah, I think that's what makes it so exciting is we give them the ability to be part of something outside of True Classic even. But again, I think giving value to your consumer and what they want, need, and aspire to have, like that's such enriched insight for a brand, and then we action upon it, and it's again really made an impact in the business and then the experience that we're providing.
It also creates a great feedback environment because the feedback inside that environment is going to be so much more organic because they're not talking to you. You're not saying to them, hey, fill in this survey and tell us what you think, where they're like, let me actively think about this. This is like the subconscious of users coming out and just saying, oh, I love this because, I was on a boat and it was the perfect
That's exactly
breathability.
it.
I don't know, I'm making it up.
No, that's exactly what happens.
That's a really interesting thing.
Yeah. Even like I just lost 40 pounds and I finally feel comfortable wearing clothes, and they're taking pictures of themselves. And I don't know, that's probably not something most men do often, like take pictures of themselves, but they're sharing, they're getting uncomfortable in trying new things because they're kind of motivated by each other and encouraged by each other. And it's just a super great place for goodness and sharing that. And it's been, like I said, amazing to be part of. And then our entire team's in there, collaborating with them, communicating with them, giving insights, even, like I said, outside of a product perspective, just about them and showing up for them. So it has definitely been an amazing journey this past year.
Yeah, too cool. That's data you don't normally get access to right there.
No, exactly.
That's really cool.
Exactly. So we even surveyed them for gifting, right? We're coming up on gifting season, so we can tap into them and say, how do you shop? How do you, buy? What do you typically buy for your people that you're going to send a gift to for Christmas? And like you said, it's such enriched data, just super organic. You're going to get the most honest feedback from them. And that's what I love is it's really enriched insights that we can then activate.
That's a crazy level of engagement. And keep in mind, if I understand it correctly, to get in the community, you have to pay a $12 annual fee so that you are highly committed to get into this community.
Right. But $12 is nothing.
Right. It's not a lot of money, but I can join hundreds or thousands of communities for free on Facebook. I'm not likely to be as engaged in that. Yeah,
definitely more exclusive. And then that $12, obviously, it pays itself. It's $1 a month. So in turn, you're getting a 20% cash back for every order. So it pays in itself the first order. But again, yes, it's exclusivity. It's allowing us a space where we can connect, share insights again with our users. We get them to engage with us. A lot of them are like, I don't usually do this. I'm only on Facebook to be part of this group. So again, it really gets people uncomfortable with the status quo. And then they kind of fall in love with it and build these really great relationships. And it's been awesome to see. And again, allowing us the opportunity to show up for them when they don't expect it has been the most rewarding.
Do you have a vision of getting it less dependent on Facebook? I'm one of those no Facebook kind of guys.
I know. And that's why so many of our insiders are missing out on it. But yes, I do have visions of it living within more of our app. So that way you already have it on our phone, or you already have us on your phone, and then it's easily accessible, not distracting or anything, but a nice way for you to kind of pop in, establish communications and experiences with the group. It's crazy that like Facebook is the only one that's still doing it the best.
Yeah, it's not surprising. I mean, it's literally what Facebook was built for, especially when Facebook for Business kind of started. But just me personally, I'm just a very anti-Facebook person. I was able to delete my Facebook 8 years ago, and it's the best thing I ever did.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Well,
I know.
I had the same thought. I had the same thought, but almost for a different reason. Although I am not big on Facebook. I go on Facebook once every 2 weeks or something, so I'm not very active on it. Oh, really? Oh, see, now I know people, including in my own household, who are on Facebook all the time. It becomes such a time suck. But you're building a community on a platform you don't own, which always comes with risks, it feels like. If they decide, we're going to shut down communities, or we're going to change the way they work, or we're going to moderate, or we're going to do something, you're at the mercy of a third-party platform.
True. Very true.
But if you try to build your own platform, how do you get people to go there? Because they're already on Facebook. They're not on your app. It's a quandary.
It is. Yeah. It is. And the Instagram piece, like you can't engage with people there. So it's just, broadcasting. But so I am, if you guys think of anything, I am definitely in the market to build that out so that it's super accessible. It's got to be accessible and easy activation, but so that it can be more broad, so that it can hit all of those of you that aren't necessarily into Facebook.
Yeah, interesting challenge. So let's talk about your own digital properties, and what are some of since you guys were founded in 2019, it's obviously evolved over the years. You're handling a lot more transactions. What are some of the friction points that you uncovered along that journey that you were able to solve? And did any of that come out of the community, or did it all come from your analytics on the sites and things like that?
When we built the membership, we definitely had the challenge of like, how do we show people that we have this membership and that, all of the benefits that it offers. So we recently, just a few months ago, were able to build like an upsell in cart for the membership specifically, and saw phenomenal take rate, which helped us to see, okay, this is an amazing product that we're offering. It's just about that merchandising, how to make sure that people can access it and that they know about it. And we saw immediately that opt-in just skyrocket. So that again was mostly due to a combination of things, but a lot of data insights and then testing. We're really, really big on testing. We're never afraid to test into things because we want to make sure that it makes sense, doesn't add friction. We're really apprehensive about just kind of like plug and play, because we want to make sure that it is going to perform and that our community is going to respond well to it. So we definitely, we'll seek insights from them often of, how do you think we could do this better? How did you get into the insiders? And going through like, oh, okay, that was a little bit challenging. We kind of built this idea of the in-cart upsell. And like I said, it kind of took off from there. So now we'll continue to ideate around that. And okay, now what can we do better? How can we improve that? Posting about insiders across paid, letting them know there that we have this insiders group. So again, we'll test into a number of things.
Yeah, I would think given the positioning of your product as a comfortable shirt that always fits exactly proper no matter your body type, et cetera, it having any kind of friction in the buying process would be an absolute jarring to that, right? Because it's like you get this great comfortable product in a very uncomfortable purchase process. So frictionless becomes a real mantra, I would think, for you all.
Yes. And even post-purchase, you got to think through that, right? Like, how do you ensure that once they make the purchase, we give them assurances of when the product's arriving. So that way that you're not having those people thinking, okay, this paid ad just scammed me. Like, I'm sure we've all been scammed before. Okay, here, they're legit. They're keeping me updated. Even when things go wrong, our customer support is exceptional. We really think of like a Ritz-Carlton quality of service type mindset of again, we want to go above and beyond, even when things aren't going wrong necessarily, but just again, to just build that trust within our brand. So it starts obviously the first moment they see True Classic. We want that cohesiveness all the way until they get our product. And then we've earned that assurance of like, okay, great. This is a brand I can support and get behind. I love the way it looks, feels, and how I feel in it.
Do you have any standard processes, especially digital, after purchase to also reinforce they made a wise choice? I mean, obviously the shipping and all that, but even after they get the product, are there things that you provide to get them comfortable with it and then ultimately build that loyalty to get them to come back?
Yeah, for sure, especially around personalization, because we offer a wide array of product categories that not everybody understands, right? They're thinking, oh, I thought you were just t-shirts because I only see your t-shirt ads. So we've started running ads across our denim, and again, saw phenomenal take rate. People not realizing that we had cross categories like Chuck's polo that I'm going to send him, or, long sleeve button ups or outerwear. I know. So that's the thing that we're constantly working to get better and simplifying the website so that it's easier for you, Chuck, to see that we do offer more than t-shirts, but also across the paid, because we know that's where a huge amount of our audience is coming from. We've got to also let everybody else know in our advertising that we sell multiple categories. And so denim's performing really well for us, and we'll continue to ideate across all of our styles. But at the end of the day, yes, Chuck, we do touch on, getting to know the brand. We're obviously going to tell them about the insiders membership and access and all of the perks of that. We're also going to, give them assurances that like, look, if something goes wrong, you have a guarantee. We offer a product guarantee, if a fit and as well as like quality, that if something goes wrong, we're here, because we don't want you to feel like, Chuck, earlier you touched on that. You don't want to buy a 3-pack and then you're stuck with 3 tees that you're not that great about. Like, no, if you're not happy with them, we guaranteed are your money back. So again, just any and all touch points that we can to give those assurances, saying, hey, you could purchase True Classic in your app. There may be perks to purchase in app. It's going to make it super convenient for you. We have, sales initiatives over SMS where we'll help you with an order right then and there, make it as easy as possible to eliminate any friction at all.
It's really interesting, and I'm trying to relate it all to just my own experience in buying t-shirts, frankly. I used to only buy Banana Republic when I was younger, and then I was like, this is too expensive. I can't keep this up. And then I just started buying Hanes and Fruit of the Loom. And then I went back to Banana Republic for like 2 or 3 shirts. And I have no home with these anymore. No brand loyalty. I know I'm making you like sigh at the moment, but I'm going to give a pack a try. I am the V-necks for sure. But
okay, Nick's V-neck. I got you, Nick. I got you. We'll send you a 3-pack of V-necks. We're going to send Chuck 3 black polos. And I'll let the product speak for itself. That's the reality, guys, is like everybody can come up with all this strategy all we want, right? We could invest a shit ton of money in all of this strategy and execution, but at the end of the day, if the product isn't it, then it's always going to flop. So we'll get you guys taken care of, and you can tell me what you think, and we'll let the product do its job.
Yeah, we'll definitely also share it with our audience.
I was going to say, we'll have to post pictures on.
Yes, I want to see pictures for sure.
Drops.
Yes.
We also do these the post episode reviews or like summaries rather, and so by the time we're ready to do that, we probably will be wearing these things, and we'll be able to talk about it in this episode by the time it releases. So it'll be well timed.
Yeah. So you said something that I find very interesting, because there's always this question of attribution, right? So you're running a lot of paid media on Meta properties. That's been very successful for you. If somebody is like me, has been seeing it, and then I see you in Kohl's, I see you in Sam's Club, I see you one of those places and I buy it, you have no way of tying that back. How do you deal with that? Because obviously that investment is paying off. You just can't, there's not a way to tie it back. How do you? account for
There
that?
might be a way, or we'll try to build a way to tie it back, Chuck, because to your point, like a lot of it is just essentially we're going to chalk it up to whatever that cost, that CAC is, right? But we would love to be able to tie it back and to be able to know that Chuck saw us on these 3 outlets and eventually made the purchase here. So hopefully there is some form of syndication that we can build within our third parties to tie it back. But to your point, yes, I think that's part of just doing kind of like the business is we're committed to earning that trust from you. So what we've even done like in our retail stores to give you perspective is we put in our front windows TVs that are running our ads so that way people can correlate, oh, I've seen that ad, that's that brand. And then they come in and significant amount of people are seeing our ads. And I think it's just hesitation as, like I said, we've all been scammed of, is this real? Is this too good to be true? A lot of word of mouth too. So I think again, it is all tying back together where we think, okay, yes, we're paying, substantial amount of money to target, but at the end of the day, the more growth we see, we're able to substantiate that they've seen us elsewhere as well. So we'll see. We're definitely, like I said, so data driven and so hungry for data that we're probably actively working on a way to try to figure that out so that we can nail it down.
I didn't realize you had your own footprint of brick and mortar stores. How many stores do you have, True Classic stores?
Yeah, I think we are up to 8 stores now, 7 or 8 stores. Yeah. So that was, again, as with True Classic, super quick and fast. Like we like to move across all things. But that's been so exciting and such an amazing opportunity to learn the difference in business. And it's such like we tap our retail team. They're another piece of our insights because, again, they're direct face-to-face with consumers, having these conversations, being able to explain, difference in fit, fabric blends, like all of that conversation that generally like our support team has over text or chat. Our retail team is full of insights too. So that's been an amazing leverage for us to tap into as well and gain those actionable insights to help across the business.
That reminds me of a conversation we had with Mark Friedman, who came from Eddie Bauer and a bunch of direct to consumers, how there's so much bleeding. So you start out with direct to consumer, we're just going to do everything online. And then eventually almost all the DTC brands open up stores and all the stores are now opening up digital brands. And it's like all this bleeding and catalogers opening stores and DTC doing catalogs. And it's funny how, there's only so many options you have and everybody ends up being multi-channel.
Right. Yeah. The omnichannel has been something that we have absolutely expanded beyond any of our wildest dreams this past year, for sure.
So, Breanna, what is a widely held belief about frictionless digital experiences that you fundamentally disagree with? You think people get wrong?
I think I got one. I think people probably discredit the value of sales conversion that you can drive from your support team. I know we all talk about like, oh, your support team can be a revenue driver, but there's so many proactive things that you can tap into. Years and years ago, we used to do proactive chat campaigns where you could pop up and invite somebody to chat with you if they're sitting idle on your site. And a lot of brands are like, no, we don't want, that's going to cause friction, right? But at the end of the day, chances are they're probably going to abandon anyways. So if I can proactively ask you, do you need help looking for anything? Just like I would if you walked through the front door of my retail store, there's so much potential there. And as long as your support team is really enthralled in every aspect of your brand and product, you're going to drive higher conversion when you open up those conversations. So we did some analysis a couple years ago to show that our support team, in conversations that our support team is having with customers, we're driving probably 33% higher LTV than at just a consumer purchasing directly and never communicating with support. So you can imagine, like we talked about, that community, that connection. We're building that across our support conversations as well. And that in itself is driving longevity of a customer loyalty. So I think you need to tap into those support, invest in those support teams, leverage those support teams for resources, feedback, insights, because they hold a ton of power that I think not enough people activate.
I like that you're measuring that with lifetime value instead of conversion rate, because I think many brands would default to conversion rate and say, is support converting more supported functions, rather than thinking about it in terms of how much am I growing my brand. That's the right way to think about it. I think that's why you're seeing value there that others don't.
100%. And you can, Nick, to your point, like you can compare what's my online conversion versus how much my support is converting. And you'll see a vast difference there to again warrant to show, oh, wow, these people, they've got a lot of opportunity. And then, yeah, I would definitely leverage that. I don't think we as an industry provide enough resource to our support teams to generate revenue in the way that I know, because we do it here, is possible. And I think it's, again, just a really strong lever, a sales channel, so to speak, that not enough people are tapping into and pulling out as much value as they can.
I've had several brand damaging support problems over the course of the last few probably months. I've been going out of my way to not go to the one big guy and start going to more direct brands when I'm buying. And I'm just starting to see more and more times where it's like, okay, this is why Amazon wins. Like right here, this is why it wins, because I can trust that Amazon's going to let me return a thing.
Yes, they will let you return a thing, but God forbid you have to talk to them, because my Lord, I struggle. I struggle. I had to go through them for this return that I did. It was a nightmare. Every time it's a nightmare. Target is a nightmare. Like all of the big brands are nightmares. And we have some brands that we're big consumers of. And as moms and women, we are the consumers of the world, right? And you're right, Nick, like a lot of people are failing, and it is, I don't get it. You pay so much to acquire people. Why the hell aren't you going above and beyond to take care of them, to do whatever you need to do to convert them? I don't know. It's beyond me, but it's frustrating. And I feel you, because being in the industry that I'm in, and then when I have to deal with that shit, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, please let me help you. Sometimes I just want to help because it's so bad. I'm like, this is not good. This is not good.
Yeah, I always want to sound like that guy, like saying, hey, this is not how you grow a business. And it's like, why do I even do this? This one guy didn't care.
I know. It's so hard. I know. This is true.
It's like, please provide this feedback to somebody that actually cares, please.
Right.
Yeah. And you're right about not being able to reach somebody on the phone at Amazon. I had a $300 gift certificate that I got from Blue Triangle that I could never use. And I went online into multiple chat supports, kept timing out. They kept trying to tell me that it had been used, and I just finally gave up. That's $300 I didn't spend.
Oh no. Yeah. It's so frustrating. So frustrating. The timeout chats, even like, don't get me wrong, I'm a big supporter in AI, but that's another one, Chuck, that I think people think that you just plug and play AI. That's not how it works. You have to invest in AI just as much as you would a human being. And unless you just want to get it wrong all the time and risk exposing your brand, which is scary. But yeah, I mean, I'm big on AI, but please, sweet baby Jesus, do not get me in that damn wheel of death where you're like, no, human agent, help, 911, like get me out of here. That is the worst. But there are AI platforms out there that can read sentiment and can say, oh, this lady's pissed. I'm going to get her to a human agent because she's about to lose her mind. I don't know why they're not investing in that quality of AI. And instead, you're just in that wheel of death where, to your point, Chuck, you just give up because you're like, this is not worth it.
That was exactly one of my bad experiences recently. And what was funny about it is I was going through this endless loop of it wasn't understanding what I was trying to say. And then it said something like, okay, we'll be sending you your money back in the next 24 business hours. And I'm like, what?
Oh, God.
Okay.
That's the risk. That's the risk. Yeah. It'll go.
So it was
they
a very
call it
bad
hallucination.
experience.
Yeah. It is risky. It's definitely risky if you don't do it right. So, yeah, but there's definitely ways to do it right. I do believe that. But I think a lot of people think, oh, AI is going to answer all of the problems of the world and it's fine. Here you go. And the reality is, no, it's not. It's going to be a tool that we can absolutely leverage and activate, but we still have to manage it and nurture it and spend time investing in it.
And totally a side tangent, but I'm going to let myself go here anyway. I roasted it once before, but the AI summaries by Google, I'm noticing that they're more wrong than they are right. Like it's creating multiple results, pulling it into one, and then getting it wrong so often. And I'm like, I don't even know what to do anymore. Like I just literally scroll past it now because I cannot trust it.
Oh, that's good to know. Yeah. I've heard horror stories, definitely.
Well, Breanna, this has been a great conversation. Where can listeners connect with you, find you?
Yeah, they probably LinkedIn is the best. Sometimes it gets a little overwhelming in there, but that's the easiest way to reach me personally, is to hit me up on LinkedIn. And definitely, I'm always a strong advocate for being a resource in our industry. Number one, there's not enough amplified women voices in our e-commerce industry. And number two, there's not enough amplified voices around customer experience with the emphasis on support and sales initiatives that aren't necessarily about acquisition and retention. So always happy to be a resource to anybody out there that may need a lending hand for sure.
And join the Insiders Club at True Classic.
Yes, definitely become a member because you will not regret it. And you're going to look amazing and feel amazing. And who doesn't want that?
I wonder if your attribution will be able to tell how many products you sold from people listening to this episode.
I should have planned better, Chuck, and provided a code, and then we could have, and then maybe I could have weaseled my way into some.
That'd been a good idea.
We still can.
Some commissions.
We can put it in the show notes. We could always put it in the show notes. So
okay. I'll build that. I'm gonna have to get both of your addresses, and then I'll work on that link that we can use for so we could track how successful we were.
Awesome. We'll tell people definitely look for that link. And thanks for tuning into this episode. If you've only been listening to our podcast and you've not subscribed to our newsletter, I suggest you take that opportunity. Go visit the frictionlessexperience.com. You can subscribe there, and we publish that the off weeks that we publish an episode, and we go deeper into a particular topic. And I'm sure there will be one featured in a future episode that will feature from this conversation with Breanna. So be sure and check that out. Also, be sure to like and follow us on your favorite podcast player app. And you can, of course, always reach me and Nick on LinkedIn. I am at Chuck Moxley, and Nick is
in Paladino. Sneezing Nick Sneezer.
That was my dog in the background. I hope you couldn't hear him dreaming.
He was chiming in. It's good. We'll keep him in the cut.
Oh my gosh. Thank you guys.
Nick, you are looking really snazzy today.
Well, wouldn't you know? It's because I'm wearing True Classic.
Is that True Classic?
This is True Classic, and it looks stunning. I'll tell you this, after my cheeky little comment, it worked, and Breanna did supply us with a little bit of a care package, and I'm wearing an undershirt, an overshirt, some jeans, and even some underwear.
We don't want to see that, trust me, but that's awesome. I think she might be the first guest who's actually hooked us up, because I'm wearing the polo. I'm wearing which I didn't even know they had polos. So I think she might be the first guest who's actually hooked us up with merch, which is awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely very cool. And I'll tell you, not only did she do that, but I ended up ordering another set of my own. I decided, you know what? It's time to replace my shirts and get a whole new set. And these are right.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, I think it was a great conversation that we had with Breanna Moreno from True Classic. Nick, what are your key takeaways?
Well, I was particularly impressed by their community building efforts and the True Classic Insiders program with 40,000 members that shows the power of engaging with customers beyond just selling products. And I'll tell you, I'm part of it now.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is a paid program that people are joining. So their expansion from that pure DTC to omnichannel, which now includes stores like Kohl's and Sam's Club, really highlights that evolving retail landscape and how a community can play a role in that.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, just from experience, the money comes back immediately. It's way worth the membership. But I was also struck by Breanna's emphasis on customer support as a revenue driver. That's 33% higher lifetime value for customers who interact with support. That's significant.
Definitely. And let's not forget her insights on proactive customer engagement. The idea that well-timed support can actually reduce friction and drive sales is something for brands to consider.
Overall, it seems like True Classic's success comes down to quality products, strong community engagement, and meeting customers where they are, our favorite theme, online or in store.
That was a great summary, Nick. And hopefully you found these insights valuable. If you are, and you've not subscribed to our newsletter, every other week when we don't drop an episode, we produce a newsletter that's pretty deep, and we take a topic that comes out of it, like this conversation with Breanna, and we're going to go a lot deeper in the newsletter. And then we also have some content that we post on our website. So if you've not signed up for that newsletter, check it out at thefrictionlessexperience.com. And until next time, we'll see you.